Greetings, this is Tom with BuncombeShinola. Today we will be discussing what Tattoo You taught the punks. In 1981, the Stones had a problem. They were about to go on tour. They did not have an album to sell on the tour. So they threw together Tattoo You, which was primarily made up of outtakes, leftovers from the previous decade's recording. And surprisingly, this paid big dividends and ended up being probably their last acclaimed and truly successful LP. An outcome which did little for their future creative work ethic. But this is something that's probably lost in the digital age. When you got this record on vinyl back in the day, we were bewildered by the way the record was laid out, because what they had done was basically take every song that rocked and put it on side one, and every dragon-ass ballad and put it on side two. We were like, why would you do this? Why would you? It's so unsatisfying, unless I guess you want to have a side for separate occasions, like, I guess cocaine and champagne for side one, but if you're doing cognac and heroin side two, I don't know. And all the time since, we've wondered, why would you do this? Why would you split a record like this? Who would do this? But surprise, the answer is some of your favorite punk bands. The Dead Kennedys' plastic surgery disasters, which came out a few years later, was also organized with something like a couple dozen tracks on side one. And side two comprised primarily of their more extended kind of performance art styled material. But more amusingly, you have tracks actually thematically linked. The Stones got Black Limousine, the Dead Kennedys got Buzz Bomb, or is it Winnebago Warrior? The Stones have Hang Fire, and the Dead Kennedys have Forest Fire, although the elitist parting anthem Terminal Preppy would probably be a better lyrical match. Several of Plastic Surgery Disaster's songs are anti-workplace related, and I guess I could match that up with Slave from Tattoo You, but I don't want to stretch an idea just to beleaguer a point. Perhaps more amusingly, that one of the anti-work songs, Halloween, features a bass riff intro that is not unlike the guitar riff intro, which kicks off Little TNA. But perhaps most intriguing of all is that both albums' dire second sides conclude with a 1-2 punch of a totally existential downer followed by an extremely attractive melodic hit, as it were. And side two of Tattoo You features the emotional crisis No Use in Crying straight into Waiting on a Friend, one of the most beloved and catchy acoustic ballad tracks. And over on Plastic Surgery Disasters, East Bay Ray's total downer song Dead End is followed up by Moon Over Marin, a song so surprisingly catchy and melodic that in video bootlegs of the era, you could tangibly observe how sick the band gets of the song being requested at gigs by cute punkettes. But the following year, Black Flag really took the idea to the hoop with My War. I guess you could think of Black Flag as a band that trailblazed every possible bad move a punk group could execute over their careers. I mean, from going metal to having spoken word albums, to having albums of just hippie stoner jams, to misogyny, and the list goes on and on and on. But one of their first striking experiments appeared on this record, My War, which, again, is side one full of all solid punky bashers, but side two is literally 3 songs in which they explore their slowest possible tempos and the deepest recesses of their psychoses. I mean, Damaged as well had a couple tracks along these lines. Right here, they really are pioneering, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, sludge, stoner rock, metal. I don't know what you want to call it, but they're inventing it here, and it's when it came out, we were definitely surprised when we flipped it over to side two, let me tell you. Also odd that both albums kick off with what you might term as their last archetypal tracks. My War by Black Flag is the last great definitive Black Flag track. And I know all votes for Slip It In era Black Flag will be counted, but I mean Black Coffee or whatever. But yeah, you know, that's latter day Flag. You know, for the truly iconic classic lineup, My War is it. While Start Me Up on Tattoo You, I think few would argue is the last iconic single that the Rolling Stones have offered. And as I stated, you know, side 2 began to accumulate a fandom. A friend of mine who is no longer with us had a cover band where they only performed side 2 of My War. I don't want to speak too lightly about it, but whenever I'm thinking about the supporters of this stretch of music, what jumps to mind is that Lester Bangs article about Metal Machine music. And I'm going to paraphrase here, but essentially the article states, look, there is no one who purports to be a fan of this record without a long history of drug abuse and mental illness. And yeah, that's kind of what I think, you know, whenever I'm, you know, if you're about to be committed to an asylum, that's going to be on the checklist, right? As one of the questions when the lady at the desk says, "Sir, are you a fan of side 2 of My War?" And you respond in the affirmative. They check off the box. They start unpacking the straitjacket and they start salving up the electrodes. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there you have it. Tattoo You comes up with this cockamamie track listing idea. And it seems like, you know, there's punk bands that run with it. It's very strange, you know. Let me know in the comments below if you know of any other records that wield this sort of conceptualizing per LP side. If indeed you know anyone in these bands that can corroborate that this might be where they got the idea, do let me know. Thank you, as always, for listening to my babble. This is Tom with BuncombeShinola. I'll be talking to you again soon about some ridiculous bullshit. Take it easy.